Welcome to Club Domingo, brought to you by Cyclone Comics.
Oh.
if only I had heard the woman in the Zoom say recording in progress.
What were you talking about?
Getting stung by a wasp.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I fancy that.
I just thought I'd get this turkey show on the road, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but what I was saying to Tim, good morning, Tim. What I was
Good morning,
saying was don't go picking up a dead wasp because they can still sting you if you hold the wasp body the wrong way.
That actually makes
I got
sense.
stung by a dead wasp a couple of days ago, and I think. And then you went into your story about getting whacked by a wasp across the forehead 3 times.
Like 3 times, and then I forget where else, but I don't know. Maybe it was one wasp. Maybe it was like there was several of them. But I got like 3 or 4 stings, mostly across my face, I think, and on one arm or something. And boy, did it hurt! Like it was really painful. It's one of those things people say a lot, but I don't think I've ever been in so much pain before in my life. It was really painful.
Yeah. Have you been bitten by a jack jumper, an ant?
No.
Yeah, that's really itchy, and it becomes a very hard, about the size of a 50-cent piece, a real hard, itchy thing. That's if it gets you really well, yeah.
So for our international kiddies, a jack jumper is
It's a large ant that
a
are
large,
and they actually do jump. They can jump quite a while to get on.
and only in Tasmania. Yeah, only Tasmania.
I'm
Isn't that
only
why?
assuming so. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think that's why. What recent team has been called the Jack Jumpers? Is that was that a netball team?
Basketball.
Basketball team? Yeah, the basketball team called the Jack Jumpers.
Yeah, because they can jump really high and put the ball in the hoop.
That's such clever ads.
Yeah. So anyway, good morning, Tim.
It's like I never knew what a yellow jacket was. Like I didn't know what a yellow jacket was, and I'm reading Avengers comics, and Ant-Man is now called Yellow Jacket. I'm going, that's a weird name. Like, so what if he wears a yellow jacket? I'm the new superhero, Blue Pants.
Hey, you might be onto something there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I noticed on your back wall there, or on your wall, because I'm seeing it through the mirror, that you've made a lot of progress on your lettering.
Yeah, the lettering's good. That one's empty because it's on the drawing board. Yeah, and what great fun.
Insert thumb here.
Yeah. I hate lettering, but I love lettering. So yeah, it's been good fun, and I'm trying so hard to be better at it. And it's great as a creative when you know your brain is doing something new, or is actually learning. Because what am I on? I'm about to do page 11, so I've got 10 on the wall, and so in pretty early on in those 10 pages, I'm going, I can feel the flow state. I know when it is that the lettering, yeah, when the lettering is actually like I'm halfway between just writing and halfway between that and thinking about every single stroke. And I know you're probably supposed to really think about every single stroke, but because I've never been good at the actual dialogue lettering. I feel like my sound effects and all of that are usually at least fun, if not good, but the dialogue lettering has always been pretty messy. But I feel like I was getting into it that it looks like Tim McEwen's lettering, but it's starting to look a bit more professional as well. And I know I'm so old to be still talking about that as if, but
you're always learning and you're always breaking new ground. Yeah, that's
going,
good.
how do I keep in this state? Because it feels good. And I'm going, all right, now that I'm thinking about other things, I'm obviously losing it, and I've got to get back into that stream. And so I love that. I love trying to be in touch with whatever it is that my brain is actually going through, trying to have that self-awareness to a certain extent.
Yeah. I always enjoyed the lettering part of doing comics. That's one of the sad things about the parkies is that I was talking about this just the other week to an occupational therapist, about how I can maintain my handwriting. And of course, I'm referring to handwriting in context of comic book lettering. And she was thinking in context to just making a shopping list,
Yeah.
And I was saying, so if you give me all these specialist exercises, is there a chance of me reclaiming some of my adeptness at hand lettering? And she went, nah, it'll be a constant, decline. And what we're trying to do is just slow that down so that your shopping lists are nice and clear and easy to read, and use all of the line and go up and down to the ascenders and descenders, and big strokes. And I'm there sort of quietly crying inside, going, I can't hand letter my comics anymore.
Yeah.
So
I
bummer.
totally get it. Yeah, total bummer.
Yeah.
You letter the Eisner oriented comics with an Eisner font, right?
Yeah.
But you still letter all of your other work, Jackaroo, etc., by hand, or you use a Chaloner font?
Sound effects I do by hand.
Right.
But now my actual dialogue lettering, I've cut off a Chaloner font.
Yeah.
So I use that. So which isn't ideal, but it's 90% of the way there. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to cut my losses on that. And for a while there, I was thinking about going to one of the traditional ones you can download on offline, comic book fonts.
Yeah.
I thought, I think you bashed that into me a little bit to stay the Chaloner look, the Chaloner font look.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. I don't think about it consciously a lot, but definitely your lettering was a huge influence on me. Like, and it probably was just coming at a time where I was starting to try to actually make comic book pages, that I was picking up the first issues of Cyclone, right? Back in whatever it was, 80 whatever. And so I feel like there's a bit of that in my lettering, and I constantly just go, I wish I could letter it as well as Gary does, because it does feel very much integrated to everything else. It doesn't. It's almost like when Orzechowski was lettering for John Byrne and Terry Austin. It actually, the whole thing felt like it was one organic thing. And then you just you read Marvel Team Up. You read Marvel Team Up, and it's like whoever is on that week on pencils, on inks, on lettering, and it's like you can kind of tell it looks professional, but it's like this is just lettering. So yeah, your lettering over your work is just really kind of helps to
part of the whole thing.
Yeah, pulls it all together.
It's like, again, we talk about Dave Sim a lot, but Dave Sim's lettering on Cerebus is part of the visual package. Jeff Smith, And as you say, when Orzechowski was lettering John Byrne and Terry Austin, when he wasn't, you could really tell there was something missing. And you've always talked to me about that, because there's been several times where I've come to the point of going, I should just choose a font and change over and make it look like every other word balloon that you see. And you've been going, no, the lettering is an important part of the whole package. From your point of view, so I've sort of taken that to heart to a certain
and that's actually the other really big influence is the Chaloner package. Like that's
nothing like the Chaloner package.
That's on several pages of Trevor.
It's been called the Chaloner bulge.
The bulge, that's right, the Chaloner bulge. You could do a PhD on the Chaloner bulge. I'm sure. Where does that turn up? And it's definitely
it's just the practicality of wearing tight suits. That's all.
That's right. Or tight jeans. There's definitely like this. Is it this page here? Like it doesn't. It's nowhere near as good. This is from Green the Pastures #1 from way back in 1990, whatever. It's nowhere near as good as your work. But that panel there, the second one in that tier of three.
Yeah.
Like I still remember that I was going. I got to channel Chaloner at that point to try to do the shoulders going up and the curvature of the body and the way that the face kind of squeezes in and I don't know. I feel like there was a point where I forgot that just how big an influence you were. Like if somebody asked me, I'd go, yeah, it'd be Sim, it'd be Eisner, and I'm going, and then I maybe it was when I was starting to do the remastering for the trade paperback, and I'm going, so much Chaloner in here. I don't know, but anyway.
Oh,
So thank you for that.
yeah, no worries. I'll pass it on, no returns.
Very good.
Hey,
So
I know.
yes, there's my blue lines.
Yeah, your blue lines. Now, I've got a question about toner usage. You go through a hell of a lot of cyan toner in your printouts?
Uh, I don't track it.
Right, okay. But your printer will be going, out of cyan ink, cannot print anymore.
Well, it's been actually telling me that for a little while now that the cyan's supposed to be on zero, and it's not on zero because I just printed out all of those with nothing but 40% cyan. So
Right, okay. And
I
that's
don't know.
that's a pure 40% cyan. There's no other mix in it whatsoever.
No. That when I did Greener Pastures number 8, which was the jam issue, most of that I inked over other people's blue lines. And early on in that process, I figured it out how to make sure that that worked. I mean, I was doing research online as well because I know other people have figured it out.
Well,
But
how it drops out when you scan it and stuff like that.
yeah. And I would scan. I did a few test prints and I would scan it and then look to like blow it up and then see, well, I can see the cyan printing. I can also see a little bit of magenta and yellow in here. I don't want why is that happening? So yeah, I figured it out eventually.
So you just, in your CMYK channels in Photoshop or whatever program you're using, you turn off the magenta and the yellow and the black, and you just left there. You don't like print the black channel as cyan.
No. I've got a I couldn't even tell you how I did it now because it was a couple of years ago, but I ended up making an action for Photoshop. When I bring in the grayscale, I just press play and it converts it to my blue line, so it knows what it's doing. And because it's been a couple of years, I double checked the blue line that it was making. I'm going, no, that's exactly right.
Still good. Yeah, right.
And it's got the part of the action converts. So I bring in the grayscale and I press play, and it turns the grayscale to CMYK. I think what it did actually was it would copy the grayscale as it is, convert everything to CMYK, empty out all the channels, and paste the copy into the cyan channel.
Right. Yeah, that's how I would have done it.
Yeah. And then it makes a new layer on top of that, which is filled with white, but has an opacity of 0. So I can go through and check each one individually and go, no, I think the opacity is at 50. And I can look at them and go, actually, 50 is too dark. Because some of the pencils I got for number 8, I actually was printing out at like about 70 or 80% cyan because they needed a bit more oomph. But the stuff that I got from Emmanuel, from Manny Hernandez, I print out at 40% cyan.
Right.
Right. So that layer is there for me to meddle with, but it's already set at 50.
Yeah. The other thing, because I haven't done much, if any, inking on that toner stuff, does the ink take to it okay, or have you had to sort of fiddle around to find the right pens and the right brushes and the right inks to actually layer over that cyan toner without it bubbling or without it separating?
I haven't had a problem at all. So either what I've got just happens to work because I haven't had to experiment with anything else, or what I'm using is fine. So I've got an Epson workforce printer, and I use the Epson inks. I know that there are cheaper inks, but I just don't want to mess with whatever's
You might
working.
find the cheaper inks might cause that problem.
Yeah.
Might introduce an inking problem.
Yeah. So can you see? You can see it in the reflection there. There's my Epson workforce.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And that's what I use for scanning as well.
Yeah.
Which is okay. It's an okay scanner. It does the job.
Yeah. I use a big brother brand.
Right.
Right. And I've just had to buy replacement toner as well. Toner is so expensive, particularly when you're buying brother brand inks.
Yeah, no, totally. That's why the printers are nearly free. They want you addicted to the ink.
Yeah. But a couple of times I've run out a cyan thing to ink. I think it was actually Barry Windsor Smith pencils or something or other, and I was trying to ink over the top, and it was becoming a very unpleasant experience. The ink wasn't taking properly.
Right, like wax.
Yeah.
Like oil.
Yeah. And it wasn't, like 100% like that, but you could tell as I was inking, it was like not taking the way I was used to. So
Yeah.
I flicked it across the room and went, bah, and went on to something else.
Yeah, good.
So it's true. I went, bah, instead of,
Yeah, I bet you did.
fuck that shit.
Do you
Bah.
have to wear gloves to keep oil off your hands from getting onto the?
No, I wear gloves when
You're
I'm
lucky.
using the Wacom tablet for coloring and stuff, so that I can slide
Right.
across the Wacom easier. But
Right.
when it gets to inking on my artboard, that's just, yeah, you filthy animal. and what, you don't even have lead pencil to contend with because of your
Oh,
blue
I normally do. I normally do. But yeah, I've got like Mediterranean blood in inside the skin, so it's a little bit oily most of the time, just oily enough.
uh,
So I wash my hands a
that
lot to
wild Mediterranean blood.
try to make sure that I don't have too much oil anyway, and then I put, and I haven't been wearing gloves for all of this, so I'm just going, oh, I'm going to pay for that later when I'm inking and I get
Yeah,
little
right.
sections where it doesn't want to
Yeah.
take.
Maybe I
But
should. I don't know. I'm a mongrel. I don't know what I'm comprised of. You know.
we're all mongrels.
Yeah, that's true. I could, I get a bit jealous when you get the indigenous people and you get people from a strong heritage, whether Maltese, Italian, Greeks, and they can actually
Yeah,
link into their heritage and it's part of their life. I
yeah,
don't have any of that. I'm the
yeah.
mongrelest mongrel out there.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
very disappointed that my dad never instilled much Malteseness into our life,
Uh,
We never ate any Maltesers.
yeah. God.
Um, yeah, so it was really cool. We've never watched the Eurovision Song Contest before, but on Sunday morning we had it on because Delta was in with a chance. And the voting system is really weird. So they had whatever it was, 50 countries on the leaderboard, and they were changing positions constantly as new votes were coming in. But there was one point where Australia was number one and Malta was number two. I was going, yes, let's do that. It didn't come anywhere near that in the end, but yeah.
Didn't Delta cut spoilers? Didn't we come in as sort of like fourth or something?
Yes, fourth. Yeah.
And who
She
was?
was robbed.
Well, I didn't even hear the song. Was it any good?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Oi, oi, oi. But
Did you have a good room? A good run? Good rum?
oh, God help us. I was going to tell you about Mick Jagger and talking about
Oh, the
Delta.
Jaggers.
Yeah. I can't
The
I can't
Jaggies.
do it on
We don't
air
like the
because
Jaggies. We don't like the
it,
Jaggies. I was telling you the other day.
no, but this is a story about my son and my daughter, and I probably shouldn't tell it on air. So remind me after we hit stop.
We'll get emails, complaint emails
Let them email.
to clubdamingo at cyclonecomics.com.au.
Exactly.
Outrage.
If you didn't do it, I was going to do it.
Hold on a sec. Got to have a sip. Time for tea and toast.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and we get the graphics come across,
That's
flashing
right.
lights because
It's still a section of the show with no section.
Mhm.
We've got a title. We've got a title. And that's it.
Right. Well, maybe I should be zooming in from the kitchen and I can make some tea and toast in that
Oh,
section.
do a cookery show section.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be yeah, that could. We've got to think of something.
Yeah,
It's time for tea
exactly.
and toast.
I'm
Yeah.
watching. Talk about cookering. I'm watching The Bear. Just finished season one for probably the third time. As we're getting ready for the fifth season, we're rewatching the whole thing. Anyway, I know you haven't watched it. I won't go on about it. I've told you about it often enough.
I bumped into someone the other day, a podcast the other day, that was saying, "Is The Bear a comedy?"
Oh yeah, it's so much in it is hilarious and edging towards unreality. Uh, like Friends is a comedy because it's just like that wouldn't happen. It's just too ridiculous, or
Yeah.
it wouldn't happen that regularly. And there are small sections of The Bear that kind of push just towards that, which are hilarious. But the whole thing is like living on the edge of could this really like is the reality of this situation is pretty extreme. But people's lives can be pretty extreme. You don't know what happens in people's lives outside of your own.
Everyone
So
can write a book. Yep.
Exactly. So it's pretty believable, and I love it. Love it.
Would it be better with a laugh track?
Maybe there was a.
Hey, maybe that's what we need. We should try
Oh, let's do
laugh
that.
track.
Oh, we'll make it. We'll make it comic booky. We'll have a laugh graphic sound. Hand lettered sound effect come across
Yeah.
when it's time to laugh. Maybe not. Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
So your lettering is going fine. I've been doing
Yeah.
something behind me as well, so that's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
fun this week.
What have you got on the drawing board behind you there?
This
Are you
is
happy to show us?
Undertaker story that is been co-written by Dillon Naylor and myself, and it's Patricia meeting the Undertaker in Thunderhead Cemetery.
Awesome.
This was a story that he did years ago now, a couple of years. We were trying for the Patricia's 21st birthday, which was several years ago. So I'm playing catch up.
That's Australian comics, though, right?
Australian comics. So there's some of Dillon's pencils.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. I love it.
And almost finished. I'm 99% there.
Yes. Got the Chaloner clear line versus the Chaloner feathering. It's amazing. It's awesome. Love it. How much decision making are you making on the page to decide to go towards Chaloner or to go towards Naylor or to just be like just do exactly what's in the pencil?
I'm trying to stick to exactly what's in the pencil. Some of it is hard to translate across because
Coward.
Dillon's pencils are kind of loose, so they allow for interpretation on whether we're going for a broad chisel feather or a Chaloner fine feather or whatever. And again, I'm finding that I can't do the feathering from mid-morning to the rest of the day because my arm gets a bit too just quietly shaky where I can't maintain that line.
Yeah.
I've been getting up early and I'm finding that my body is nice and calm from about 6 o'clock till about 8 o'clock in the morning. So
awesome.
This page is the first time that I've actually tried it, where I got up. I did a lot of inking of flat blacks across the weekend. And this morning I got up and just did all my feathering and in one go. And it worked good enough.
Fantastic. Feather time.
Yeah. So I'll put once this is finished and before this goes live on Thursday, I'll scan the finished page and I'll put it up so you can have a closer look. And
awesome.
So
well, that's great to hear. We've got to change our work methods, don't we? Sometimes.
Yeah, well, I was thinking it was worthwhile doing the cyan run out for Dillon stuff, but I'm still concerned about the ink sitting on top of the toner.
Yeah, right. Right. So looking at your drawing board, the pencils there is the photocopy of the pencils, and you're inking directly over the real pencils. Is that right?
I attached that by sticking the drawing, the board. I sticky taped one to the other.
Yeah.
And then I light boxed a lot of it.
Holy shit.
And then there was a certain amount of reinterpreting what I could light box with some pencil work on the original artboard. And all while I was thinking that, I was thinking, if this was just cyan toner, I could not worry about any of that stage and just ink straight over the top.
Yeah.
But, as I said, I have reservations about the quality of the work on the toner. So
you should give it a go.
Yeah, I think I will. Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I've been doing on my light box in a minute, but I find that it's pretty it gets pretty fuzzy when you're trying to lightbox through like Bristol paper.
Yeah. I mean, my lightbox
couldn't do it.
Pretty light, and that's why I sort of pencil in loosely what I'm seeing on the lightbox before I ink. But it seems to me a lot of double handling.
Absolutely. I'm seriously considering scanning my pencils for the next issue of Greener Pastures and blue lining them instead of inking directly onto the pencils, just so I don't have to erase the pencils afterwards, right? And which is part of the problem with the remastering and just generally with brand new pages as well, is that the ink is never black enough, and it's picking up some pencil that was being left behind, with some of the lighter ink. I'm thinking, well, I could probably not have to deal with that if I blue line my own pencils.
Yeah. Well, I think with page 2 of this Patricia story, I might try that as an experiment. I just got myself some new toner, but it's only like a standard cyan, what do you call it, cartridge. So I don't know how long it'll last, whether it'll last for the whole 10 pages or not.
It'll last. I'm just trying to see if there's a So what I've been doing on Blue Lines, right, is so there's a panel with Killaroo talking and Trevor talking from off screen. Gosh, now that I flip it over, that lettering is terrible. Oh, and that what there I have to redo because the liquid paper made it look terrible.
We won't judge.
But what I'm doing with the Killaroo lettering is that Darren Close, who's the creator of Killaroo, uses a specific font for all of Rufus's lettering and a normal font for everybody else. And I didn't want to print out the lettering and just stick it on. So I'm printing it out and then lightboxing it. So
my God.
I'm lightboxing the Wiccan typeface and trying to get the same shapes and feels to it. And I think it's working well. Like it's clean and it's
nice on the original art, and you might find that you just block that out and use the Wiccan font when you scan the art in.
Because it might be fucked after all.
Anyway, I appreciate your dedication. But yes, it's really starting to look like a comic book. Would you believe I have one of them?
I texted you that during the week, right? Once the pages, I don't care if it's pencils or blue lines, once the pages have word balloons on them, I get so excited.
It starts to look like something.
Yeah. Oh my God, look at that. It's just a new phase in the production as well, which is exciting. And it's exciting. I'm really enjoying it. And I put up hooks on the wall so that I can hang them up by those clips. So they're just like 3M, the tiniest hooks that they've got. And I've got what have I got? 7, 8, 9. Really 9. I got 18 on that wall there. Is that what you use?
Yeah. That's how I keep my drawing hand steady. It's a weighted inking. No, I don't. No.
So I got 18 across that wall that I'm looking at, which you can see in the reflection, and I've got 4 more on the wall just to the left, and there's a wall over here that you can't see, which at the moment is like I've got boxes up against that wall, but I can put another 6 up there. So
cool. Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Well, I promised last week to show something, so I've got a page to show. So that's better than nothing.
That's fantastic.
Kicking the eye with a blunt stick.
Absolutely. How many pages in that short?
10, I think. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I've got 6 run out already on this tone thing, but as I said, I might try the experiment inking the blue line when I run page 2 out. The thing with this though as well is that Dillon has drawn the pages for magazine dimensions, so I've had to like cut and paste and lengthen the page to make it more US proportions.
Right.
So so even with this one, you can see that's the top of the page there that I've got to fill in a little bit longer, and down the bottom I've had to extend to a certain extent. That's nice and easy. But on the interior pages where there are tiers of panels, I've had to selectively find where to extend each panel.
Yeah. And that's not a small amount that you're extending by.
No, that's okay. Dillon never makes it easy for me. Thanks, Dillon.
He's a jerk. I don't know if you've met him. I've met him. He's an awful person.
Yeah, well, try working with him.
Well, I am trying to work with him. We were talking about a Patricia Greener Pastures team up.
Okay, yeah.
So kind of we stalled on that one. I don't know if it's Patricia or Darren Dill. But we got
rock and roll fairies, and Trevor
fairies. Yeah.
His story writes itself.
Let's do all 3.
Trevor
we'll do a trilogy.
Drugs.
We'll
Trevor
do a trilogy.
On drugs, and the rock and roll fairies come along. Man, that's great. Trevor just lying in the paddock going, "Let the wind blow over me. It'll stop after a while." And these fairies drag him into an adventure.
Are you listening, Dillon? Dillon and Ian C. Thomas, right?
That's right.
Yeah. You guys listening? Let's go. But did you ever read Marvel Team Up like very much?
Yeah, a lot.
Um,
The John
did you
Byrne
read?
Spider-Mans, yeah,
Oh my God, yes, the Red Sonja issue. Shit,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
one of the best superhero comics ever.
Best use of Mary Jane Watson ever.
Yeah, crossover with Red Sonja. That was incredible. How will we do it? Don't worry, says Claremont. I've got no idea. So that there's that period where Chris Claremont wrote Team Up, and he's a really good writer, a really good superhero writer.
He's got potential, doesn't he?
He sure does. And it was like at that point I was already into Claremont. Okay, well this is cool. Like that should be good. And then he would do things like similar to what you did. We'll talk about what you did in a minute. Where it would be like a 6-issue arc, but every issue had a different team up. And it's like, how
Yeah,
are you going to hand
with
off?
Shang-Chi, with Black Widow,
Yeah,
with just adding on and adding on.
that's right. Yeah,
I want to get that collected as one big epic. I reckon that would be.
yeah. That was
Shang-Chi
really
was in it
cool.
as well. That was
Yeah, yeah,
really good.
yeah. It was good fun.
I don't make comics like that anymore. That's the kind of vibe I want to try and get with the Jackaroo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that kind of goodness.
yeah.
I don't want it to be crap. I want it to be good.
Like, oh, right. Well, see, that's where you need to pick up your game, right?
Yeah, no, be less crap, Gary. Be less
Yeah,
crap.
too much crap, not enough good.
Yeah, more borscht in your diet.
Oh, wow. Don't know what that is, but
You don't know what borscht is? Beetroot and potato soup.
it's a soup. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Beetroot and potato.
Belle just made some on the weekend, and I never usually liked it, but this batch of it is absolutely lovely. Fantastic. Wow. Yeah. But be careful. It stains your clothes though, and your fingers. So be very, very careful.
Okay.
Don't throw it around like Belle does.
Is it a hot soup or a cold soup?
Can be both, but we enjoy it hot, I think.
Yeah. Pretty sure I've had that cold. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. It's great with white crusty bread roll with lots of cold butter on it. And you dip it in sour cream. Yum, yum. Yeah. Anyway. And that's that's time for tea and toast cooking section.
Exactly. Make some notes. We'll get onto it.
Yeah, borscht.
Yeah, that's what I think of. I think of the Swedish cook from the Muppets when you say borscht. But that's what I want out of that now as the editor and visionary of Greener Pastures Team Up. That's the vision I have for Dillon Naylor and Ian C. Thomas. A 3-part team up over 3 issues. Yes. Handing off from Patricia to Darendil to the fairies or whatever combination thereof.
Yep.
Oh, let's go. We should have sessions like this more often.
And you was it good for you too?
Good session.
Yes. This plotting make my bum look fat. Yeah. And then at the end, if you can't find an ending to the story, just have Hairbutt burst in and kill everyone.
Well, they just wake up and it was all a dream. Easy.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the kind of writing that Naylor and Thomas do anyway. I woke up and it was all a dream.
Yeah, they got out from under their prima donnas and prima donna. Anyway, so you've been chugging along well with your lettering. I've been going along fine with my inking.
It's all good.
Try a few things. Yes. What else is there to talk about?
You've got that old light box there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This is my light box. I'm sure. Surely you've seen these things, like they're
yeah. I was gifted a slimline one that didn't last for that long. I was a bit unimpressed.
Yeah, they're very light. But yeah, this is my second one because I broke the where the connector is. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I've got a big homemade job that is oversized A3, which I keep on buying stuff off the rack to see whether I can get as bright a light as I can, better than my own light box, because the fluoro tubing in it is like uber bright, and I can't get it. I'm always disappointed, and I end up sort of struggling to find out the details through the Bristol board and stuff like that. But this
I found that to be pretty bright. So yeah, I don't even know where my light box is. I think Sam's got it. Pretty sure Samuel's got it. Yeah.
But for many years, when I first moved to WA, I inherited an industrial size light box that is like from a ruby lith cutting, making kind of thing. It was a huge. That was amazing. That was great.
Yeah. Where did you put that?
I don't know whatever happened to it.
Well, where were you living that you had room for that? Like I was living as big as a dining table.
Coongamaya in Western Australia, up near Midland, which was going east out of Perth. But anyway, yeah, one of my first homes, and
Yeah.
it was luckily
It's
we
not
had
so much that I'm saying that like Perth isn't big enough for a table that big. I'm saying what rooms, like you must have been in a big house or.
Yeah, it was an open plan living room, and we just nestled it in the corner.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't even remember what happened to that. It was such a huge thing. I think we just sold it to someone who came in and took it away. Must
Yeah,
have.
right.
Or it might have been, no, I don't remember breaking it or falling through the glass or anything like that. So I don't think we just dumped it at the tip. I think someone took it away. Anyway, who cares?
Because they would tilt and everything. And
This is a big, fixed in place, flat top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
it's as big as like a large desk that you would buy from IKEA or whatever.
Yeah.
Except the whole thing is a light table. The whole thing. Yeah.
It was probably
Those of you that have never seen it.
it was bigger than that.
They're bigger than the drawing board. Yeah.
The newspapers and magazines that would have been pasted up on that thing. You know, the wax gallied strips on markup board and
Exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly. I once worked at a printer's and I was in the art department doing typesetting and crummy stuff like that. And that room was just, one room away. So we could see each other, like those big windows and, so because it was in it was not a design house, it was a printer's. And that's where I became quite good friends with Jeannie Little's daughter, little Katie Little.
Little Katie Little, darling.
Exactly. She was in the film room cutting up ruby lith and film and doing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was hilarious. So yeah.
Apparently, what was her name? Judy Little.
Jeannie
Little. Her voice wasn't an affectation. That's the way she talked.
That was her. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And Katie Little was not far off.
Well, you brought up with your mum.
Yeah, exactly. And she was pretty. She is pretty small. So I called her Little Katie Little. And my favorite memory of her was one time where we were on the night shift and she poked her head out and said, "All right, I'll see you later." And by the time I looked up to say, "See you later, Katie," she was already on her skateboard, just kind of gliding through the center of the room. So it's like you just see the top half of little Katie Little gliding across the room. That's my Katie. Yeah, she was great fun.
Nice. Yes.
The people you meet. Wow. We had a list of things to talk about. Have we gotten to two of them? What's on your drawing board and what's on my wall?
That's good. I think that's what this show is all about.
I think so.
I think that's why we started it in the first place, to sort of push ourselves into doing more art more often.
Yes, exactly.
And it's finally starting to coalesce.
Yeah. So I've got a mark for probably at least today, maybe today and tomorrow. So hopefully next week you'll get the rest of the lettering. And hopefully even start the inking. I'm super keen to get inking. I don't know whether or not to start with the first page, which is a splash page and not much organic stuff in it. I put some of it on my socials already. No spoilers because it's a splash page. Yeah. So that's like a building at the bottom and an ice sculpture of a library.
Hydro Majestic, yes.
Yeah. Or whether or not I should just go in, which I never do, but go in for like a page with a half splash or something, so I can just warm up with some fun stuff. And
I vote for that. I think that's a good move. Yeah. Just pick one or two panels that are fairly innocuous and easy, just to ease yourself into.
Yeah.
And then go back and do page one when you're ready.
Yeah, because I'm dead keen to get onto Manny's pencils again. One that I shared on social media. That's gonna be such fun. Yeah, it's gonna be fun to do.
Yeah. And so these are full pencils, are they? They're not. You're not inking over inks that have already been done.
No, they're definitely rougher than what Manny would normally hand in. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Okay.
And it's while I'm lettering. This is one of the things where I've got to make sure I continue to focus properly. I'm looking at what Manny's laid down for me to ink later, and a lot of it I'm going, oh, I didn't realize it was quite that rough in certain places. And then there are other places where it's super tight. Because I know Manny was a little bit concerned. He said, I'm pretty sure he said he'd never been inked before. So he's not really sure, what does penciling mean for moving on to the next step in the process. So I think he was experimenting a little bit as well. There's some of it which
Right.
is super tight, and some of it which I'm going, oh, I'm going to actually have to figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, right.
Both of which I'm really looking forward to, all of it. So yeah,
Yes, that's
yeah,
what I found when penciling for other people, which I've done a couple of times, like the Astro City issue. I just went over the top with my penciling detail because I just wanted to give as much information for Wade von Grawbadger to actually
yeah,
run with it.
yep,
And yeah, I was always scared of not giving enough information. So I
yeah.
don't know what the professional guys do it, how finished they are for Marvel or DC these days, but you want to give as much information as required.
Yeah.
Um,
There's definitely a section where, or not a section, like almost all of it. I think Manny hasn't put on Trevor's fingernails, the little
right.
miniature
Okay.
hoof
Yeah.
fingernails.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll probably pencil them in before we go to inks. But I definitely had a rule with the Greener Pastures #8 to not repencil anything. And if I felt like anything needed changing, I'd either change it with the inks or I would just go over the pencils as they are.
Right.
So yeah, I don't want to redraw anything. And so not that there's anything that needs redrawing here. Manny's version of Trevor is really excellent for the story, um, and there's things like there's like that in that page I just showed you. There's an old man, um, and that's going to be super cool to ink as well because that's pretty tight,
Mm.
pretty tightly inked,
Yeah. Yeah.
penciled. So yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? It's actually a really good story. I think did I think that
Is
I
that a
think at the
Michael story?
yeah I think at the beginning, when we first were talking about it. Uh, I have a feeling that maybe Darren came up with a scenario, and then Michael started writing it. And I think neither of them were terribly happy. I'd have to relook at the email exchange. I can't remember now. But in the end, Michael kind of had just had like a weekend at the Hydro Majestic, which is a beautiful old hotel on the way to the Blue Mountains, and came up with a really cool idea and pitched that, and it really works well. It's like it's half in the country, and you can understand why Trevor would be there and why Rufus would be there. And when you read it, there's something going on at the Hydro Majestic, which is not set up um, just because of the story. It's actually part of the Hydro Majestic, which feeds into the story really well. So it's actually a really good story, and if it wasn't for the fact that uh, Rufus complicates matters for the Greener Pastures general series, it's worth being in canon
Yeah.
kind
Right.
of
Right.
story. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really glad this is the first story off the rack for
Cool.
Team Up.
And it must be interesting dealing with Darren and Michael and yourself, and then another penciler. The
Yeah.
team is quite large for a short story
Yeah. Yeah.
when you deal with
Yeah.
other people's IPs as well.
Yeah. So imagine if I brought in a letterer and a colorist, all of those people. But
Yeah.
it's everyone's been really flexible and fully into the trying to make the best story. And then when it was coming together, very happy to hand off to whoever it was that was making it. Michael wrote it, including dialogue, and then Darren went through the Rufus dialogue and made sure that was Rufus like instead of what Michael was writing. So there were changes there. But in general, it's not in general. Nobody was trying to change things just for the sake of changing stuff.
Yeah.
And the other thing was
Story came first.
sorry?
Story came
Yeah,
first. Yeah.
yeah. And Manny also, I'm not sure why, but Manny wasn't terribly comfortable in doing the whole storytelling. So I did all the layouts, similar to what I did for Greener Pastures 8. And then he ran with the layouts to do the pencils. So yeah, the credits on it are pretty weird.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's what this title is all about.
exactly. No, it's
the odd combos and the
yeah.
results.
No, I'm super keen to continue to team up with other creative people to do some stuff. Yeah.
Do you get a chance to look at the Undertaker story that Jason did that I rescripted and relettered?
No, I'm already trying to read through Death Roll,
Right.
Levi's
Yeah.
comic, and I started reading canon, which we'll talk about a bit more later as well. So I've got two things on the run already. So no, but I'll get to it.
That's okay. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, well, shall we segue into canon and the Eisner noms?
Yeah.
Yeah, Canon got nominated for an Eisner Award. That was the list of nominations were released this week.
Yeah. Was Canon nominated for an Eisner as well?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Oh, well, so there's 4 Australians, is there?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Far out. So that's 4 Australians on the, at least, because I haven't looked through everything on the list.
Right. Okay.
I've only seen what's come up in my feeds.
Then I've missed one as well because I've got Cannon by Lee Lai from Drawn and Quickly. I've got Chickenpox by Remy Lai from Henry Holt Books for Young Readers.
Yeah.
I've got Making Nonfiction Comics, A Guide to Graphic Narrative by Ellery Harris and Shay Merck. And what's the 4th one?
The 4th one is in the same category as Remy Lai's Chickenpox. It's called Creature Clinic by Gavin Ung Tan, and it's coming out of second.
Right, okay.
And a lot of the kiddies at home might know Gavin under his pseudonym of Zen Pencils. That's his like cartooning pseudonym.
Yeah.
So that's 4, at least 4 people on there, which is amazing.
Yeah, go Aussies, go.
Yeah, incredible.
Oi, and an extra oi for the 4th one.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, now that I've brought it up, let me have a quick look. For the usual suspects. See if anyone else is on there before I actually read through it. Next week we'll cover our tails if we've missed anybody. But yeah, at this point,
not. No. We're not a news site. We're a thought.
That's right.
A think tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what we are? A think tank?
A think tank?
That'll do. Yeah. A non-government funded think tank.
I'll tell you after we press stop what I thought I could say, but I thought I better not say. So a non-government
funded think tank.
Right, yes, right.
Creative think tank.
Well, you can make that shorter. A non-funded think tank? Totally non-funded.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, exactly right. In fact, we're going bankrupt fast. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
So our GoFundMe is at or send donations to
is at our brains, but not anywhere else.
So that's pretty exciting news. Yeah, four nominations by Australian creators.
Amazing. All right. So what's Canon up against?
That sounds scary.
Drome, I guess is how you pronounce it. Drome, by Jesse Lonergan. Fable of Erkling Woods by Juni Barr. A Garden of Spheres by Linnea Sturt. More Weight, a Salem story by Ben Wiki. Shadows of the Sea by Kathy Ocasian. Wow.
Yeah, they're all crap, those ones.
I reckon. They sound crap.
They're all crap. Canon is clearly the best one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so congratulations to all the nominees. Very exciting time between now and middle of the year when the awards are announced.
Yeah. So the thing is, in the best publication for kids category, they're up against Remy and Gavin are up against Raina Telgemeier and Scott McLeod with their latest
thing. That's a big ask, that one. That's
a big ask.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 2 big hitters there.
Yeah. That's the only other names I kind of recognize there.
Right, all the others are crap.
Oh, they are all crap, including that one.
Yeah.
And let me see. And so the other one was called Making Nonfiction Comics, A Guide to Graphic Narrative. Yeah, by Ellery Harris and Shay Merck. Yeah. I think Shay might be. Are they American or?
I'm not sure.
I think that's like a global thing between Ellery and somebody from another part of the world. Shay. So that's amazing. And they're up against. Oh my God! So that's in the best comics related book category. Yeah. They're up against a book about Crumb, A Cartoonist's Life.
Yeah.
Another Raina Telgemeier book, Facing Feelings Inside the World of Raina Telgemeier. How comics are made.
Smells like being rigged.
There's a Charles Schultz book, and The Art of Peanuts by Chip Kidd. Wow, another really difficult category there.
He thinks he can design.
I just catharted 50 years of cathartic comics. So
Uh,
yeah,
Funny title. Yes.
yeah. So yeah, it's some stiff
It's
competition there, but
it's a pack ticket.
wow.
It's a pack ticket, as they say.
Yeah. So the thing with Levi's Cannon being nominated there is that's this one because I just happen to have it on my desk. Is that it actually won this week the Stella Prize for literature.
Did we not
Uh,
mention that last week, or did we mention that last week?
no, I don't think so. I think I texted you during the week to say, "Holy crap!"
Oh, I think I texted you to say, "Holy crap!" and you already knew.
That's right, exactly.
Got to get up pretty early in the morning to get McEwen.
So that was a big deal because that's a
Yeah,
literature prize normally for books, not comic books.
yeah, that's right.
Um,
Yeah,
so good on Lee. Jeepers, that's pretty amazing.
yeah.
So yeah, so I guess Lee will now be doing like a bunch of interviews and festivals and whatnot on the back of that. So
We might get him on
well,
this show.
well deserved.
No, we can't afford him now.
We don't have anyone on our show other than you or I. We can't afford each other, let alone anyone else.
That's right. Yes, yeah. Anyway, so
How exciting.
the other kerfuffle that turned up that's Eisner related during the week is this thing that an AI produced comic page was part of an anthology that was nominated. So the whole question about AI in comics and the Eisner Awards raised its head as a subject. And all I know is that the project got nominated. The page isn't a standout page as far as a representation of comic art, whether it's AI or human produced. And the artist responsible, the creator responsible for the AI page, did make it clear before the book was released, when it went through its Kickstarter phase or something, that this page was all released and produced using AI. So it actually, I would assume, went through the judging process, went through to the keeper, was totally missed as far as something to be judged and to be talked about from the judging point of view.
You say that meaning that the judges would have said, "Oh, this is inadmissible because it's got one AI page out of 300."
That discussion, I don't know whether it was had or not, but it should have been had.
Yeah,
And obviously, it was. They came to the conclusion that it's either it was they weren't aware there was AI, it was buried in an anthology, and they were just judging the whole book,
yeah,
or whether they had the discussion and they decided that no, one page in a 150 page, 300 page anthology is acceptable. We'll still give it a nomination.
yeah.
So there's that conversation that the Eisners have to clarify amongst themselves before next year's voting round.
Mm.
And even for this year, whether that page makes the nomination inadmissible or not, whether they're going to change the rules before the awards are issued. So
Yeah.
it does
What's the
raise.
name of the book?
I don't know. It's in the anthology section.
Okay.
Let's see. I've got it here. It just shows that we don't do research very well for this show,
Yeah.
but just the general points. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
so no, I'm not even playing devil's advocate here. I'm just discussing this with you. The the fact that the person who submitted the AI page, and you can see here that I'm choosing my words very carefully to try to not to step on toes in either side of the line there. But the person who submitted the AI created page, who announced that to the publisher and so forth. So nothing was done surreptitiously. Um, you know, is it part is the fact that it was made by AI or partly made by AI, is that part of the story? Is it part of the concept? Is it part of the context of making that page? That's part of what you have to kind of look at. It's like if it was all fumetti, if it was
The subject of
photographs,
the page, whether it talks about being
uh,
AI.
or if you were making a commentary on AI by making a page utilizing AI, that kind of moves the whole uh, conversation into uh, art context conversation rather than just you know, if there's a whiff of AI, then this is out. That's why I'm asking what the anthology is, because maybe the anthology is art oriented and there's other weird, wacky, experimental
Well,
stuff in there.
keep on talking. I'll try and find what's the anthology section.
Yeah,
Is it,
and again, I'm not trying to say that makes it okay, but it should be part of the interesting conversation regarding AI in comics.
I think it
How is
was.
it?
I think it was part of the Stardust, the Super Wizard anthology from Blue Creek Creative. And from what I've seen of the page itself, it's not a very good example of strong comics craft, whether it's AI created or human created. It would still be this page is pretty naff. That's my humble opinion.
Right.
But the question still looms: is there a line in the sand for awards processes like the Eisner Awards, that if it's AI as much as that page was AI, it should be removed from contention? But then, I'm not defending it in any way because I'm kind of anti-AI, but being an anthology, it hurts all the other creators that submitted to that anthology as well.
Yeah. I'm just looking at. I've just done a Google search, um, and only looking at the images coming back. That's interesting because that's coming from, or it's. I mean, the publisher is listed as Blue Creek Creative, but I recognize that character from the Power Pulp Collective. It's a pretty wild and wacky superhero kind of what would you call it? Parody kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Probably not quite a parody. Um, and looking at it, I didn't realize that it seems to be based on an IP that is out of copyright. So that's what's actually being utilized there in the comic to begin with.
Right.
Oh, interesting. Because the cover's by Mike Allred. That's a pretty big name to have on the cover.
Have you seen the actual page in question? Have you got that there?
No, not that I know of. Is it the one that looks photorealist with?
No, it's
Uh,
looks pretty hokey, like amateurish.
yeah,
If I
yeah. All right, no worries.
if I
I'll
try and
look in.
find it, I'll show it here, just
Yeah,
because it's for educational purposes,
yeah,
or not, depending on how I feel, because I don't particularly want to give space to
yeah,
AI created dreck. So
yeah. Interesting, interesting. Yeah,
it's
because I mean, again, neither do I. But as an experimental page, maybe it sits comfortably in the other however many pages there are in this anthology. Maybe it actually.
yeah, yeah. And without reading the rest of the book and context is very important.
Yeah,
On the very basics of, it was created for AI. It was promoted as an AI page by the artist. It wasn't hidden. He wasn't trying anything sneaky. Not that I'm defending it. I just don't think maybe it should have been in the anthology in the first place.
yeah. No,
Or
I totally agree. If Michael wrote a story for Greener Pastures that required uh, pages that were supposedly made by AI, I wouldn't use AI to make those pages. I would be looking at AI as reference and saying, so how would AI interpret what it is that Michael's talking about here? And I would make that. So that's how I would approach it. And then maybe that's how these people should have approached it.
right.
Not actually use AI, but yeah. Anyway, interesting.
And I think the committee will probably come around to banning AI, because a lot of other
Yeah.
awards have done that, have come out and limited the AI to banning that for submissions. I
Yeah.
think the Eisners will catch up. It's just a matter of whether they will make that effective for this year's round of awards, or it'll come in next year. And it just makes it very awkward all round.
Yeah.
And the whole question of AI in general in creative fields, comics in particular, I got a feeling that it's not going anywhere. But unfortunately, it's a new amateur level that is been crammed into the process, that
Yeah.
people can have to be aware that it's an AI project and make their own decision to support it
Yeah.
or not support it.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I don't think it should be used professionally.
Yeah.
But it's a deep ocean of conversation, but it sort of rubs my fur the wrong way. But that's just, like I was listening to Richard Osman, who is a UK commentator and writer, and is the host of Pointless and a few other game shows over in the UK. Quite an articulate and smart person.
Yeah.
And he's got he co-hosts a show called Everything Else is Entertainment, where he talks about, and Melissa Hyde, I think, is his co-host. She's a journo, and they talk about all different kinds of subjects to do with the entertainment industry in general. And they talked about AI, and he basically said anyone who thinks AI is going anywhere is fooling themselves. In fact, all the decisions about AI were made about 10 years ago. So you're seeing the results of, this as far as big corporations and Disney buying into the development of AI art, and how it fits into movie making and TV show making, and how it's storyboards. It's all there already. The horse is already bolted. Now it's just a matter of how much acceptance it's given, how much legitimacy it's given.
Yeah.
And but he thinks if you can wave a flag and say no AI art, that's well and good, but you're kidding yourself if you think you're going to stop it, because it's already 10 years down the track. The big money's already been spent, and that's horrifying. But that's a realistic take on it that I can kind of not live with, but see that is correct.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm really bored with the subject of AI. Anytime you get two creatives in a room together, within 10 minutes you're talking about AI, and sometimes that's all you talk about for the next hour. And I'm actually really sick of it. So,
well, we'll keep it short. I'm not a fan.
Not that helps, but
yeah.
Okay.
So I think that in moving forward, the human element will be an advertising bonus, a creative bonus, and not a deterrent. So AI may find a little home for itself in over here, but I think where the value will be added will be by human artists, where you can actually see the humanness of the work. I think that'll be the value moving forward.
Yeah. Humanity, what we want.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think that's it. The only other thing that I had to talk about, which is another hot topic, is pirating, comic book pirating. And there was apparently a big comic books pirating site was taken down over the last week or so, and that has raised the discussion levels again on my social media as far as is pirating good, bad, or indifferent. And I think the answer lies in the word pirating. Pirating's not good. Anyway, that's
isn't it?
Gar.
Anyway. Look, it's part of the reason why I still find it really hard to make PDFs part of my Kickstarter or part of an online store. It's a huge trust thing that I give you a PDF and that you won't give it on to anyone else. But so is making a physical copy. I've sold you a copy. Surely you won't give that to the next person. I want them to buy their own copy. So it's like, it's pretty much the same.
I felt pretty bad though when I first bumped into some Russian, comic sites where all my stuff was scanned and given away for free, or they were making money off it because you could log in to access deeper archives of scanned artwork. Right. And I felt hurt by that as a creator. So I can see why creators get upset about that side of things. Totally. There have been a few creators coming out going, you can't do anything about it. So hopefully the pirating work will direct them to go to a bookstore and buy my stuff in print at some stage. Can't control it, can't do anything about it. Let's get on with life.
And so we're people like you and I are in a reasonably privileged circumstance that we have the money to go and buy a book if we really want a book. And not everybody's in that circumstance. But because of that circumstance for me, I really cannot be bothered with almost any of those kind of sites. If I'm looking for some reference from a certain issue of a certain comic, I know the sites to go to that have the entire comic. Not very well scanned, but at least I can see the page that I'm referring to or whatever. But half the time, you click on like what should be 3 clicks to get to the page ends up being like a dozen or more because of opening, spam sites and blah blah blah. It's like, it's going, if I was really trying to read a comic off this site, man, forget it.
Yeah.
And I'm just not smart enough to know how to operate torrenting and all of that kind of stuff well. So I can't be bothered with that 90% of the time either. And I don't even know if torrenting is even a thing anymore for comic books. Like, do people even bother with it?
Yeah, I don't know either. I think there are torrent sites still around, but there are new things that have superseded it as well.
Right.
In that it's how to deliver
Yeah.
pirated goods.
Yeah. That's how long it's been since I've properly done torrenting, trying to find something on a torrent.
Yeah.
So my knowledge is pretty old, but I continue to go back to, and I forget who it was, but somebody reasonably famous, I think in like indie comics, but pretty high up in indie comics, saying every time there's a spike in their torrenting, there's also a spike in their sales, and so they were totally fine that there were torrents happening. So, yeah.
It's funny. I'm just a human being, and I'm processing how I feel on the subject. But when you say, when someone says that they get all this stuff, Marvel and DC each week, that's on free torrents or from free downloads, I feel less affronted than if they were talking about the work of an independent creator or someone who is self-publishing. That's when my ire gets a little bit more. What the fuck are you doing that for?
Yeah.
But like the latest Batman comics, I care less about. It's all bad, but just my outrage is less when someone in passing mentions that they download all their Marvel and DC stuff from online. It's like less outrageous.
There's a whole phrase that was used a lot, especially for I think music and film torrenting. That, or maybe it was comic book torrenting. There's their torrenting whatever media it is. Then they're not a fan of that media anyway. Like if they were a fan, like they'd be seeking it out and they'd be paying for it. And then related to that was the whole thing that, especially when it was Napster and music torrenting and stuff like that, and people would be downloading gigabytes, if not terabytes of music, just wholesale downloads, and going, they're never going to listen to it. What are you worried about? Like, they were never going to buy your CD or your vinyl anyway, and they're not going to listen to what they've downloaded because they've just downloaded 3 terabytes worth of music. They don't actually care. It's more that they're going on a hunt, and it's like a game that they found this torrent.
A pirate on the open seas.
Exactly. Arr. So, So it's a weird thing. Wow, the two contentious subjects there, Gary, talking about.
And you've offered no opinion either way because you just don't want to be. Haven't
I? I guess not. I've made commentary though.
You have, yes.
That's what we're here for.
Well, I think that's about it because we're running out of time.
I'm just going to mention just quickly, Greenlight Comics.
No, we're running out of time.
In Adelaide, Greenlight Comics in Adelaide turned 10 this week.
Greenlight, 10 years as a comics retailer, and a good one at that.
Absolutely. How amazing that they're still here. Thank the comic gods for Greenlight and places like Greenlight. So congratulations, Greenlight. Huzzah in Adelaide. And I know it's too late now for this week, but I only found out a couple of days ago. But Dave Pilkey, is that his name? Who makes like Captain Underpants and whatever the dog's name is. So those comics for kids. He's doing an in-store signing at Kino at Books Kinnicunya in Sydney on Thursday evening, 5 p.m. I'm glad
Thursday evening when this show goes live.
That's right, exactly at the time.
So how was it?
I'll tell you. I'm glad I found it in my notes because I'm going, oh, that's right, that's on. I might go and see like what happens. Is there going to be a huge crowd, or a Kino not really promoting it well enough, or is it on Scholastics?
Is there going to be cosplay?
Is there going to be? Probably.
Any people rolling up in their underpants?
Yeah. Well, I hope. Well, I know I'll be wearing underpants, but you won't see them.
Oh, okay. Rightio. Yes. Okay.
Because they're invisible underpants. No. And the last thing is, and maybe we'll talk about it in the future when it comes up, is that Sean Tan's got a new graphic novel coming out, which is very exciting.
Sean Tan. Oh, he comes down to he's coming down to Tassie, actually.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Not comes to Australia, it comes to Tasmania.
Comes to Tasmania. from
Because
the
he's a
North
Perth
Island.
boy, right? It's like
I
all
think
these-
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's Melbourne-based now, I think,
Is
isn't
he
he?
right? Yeah.
I don't know. The last time I talked to him, which is never, he never fills me in on where he's living these days. So,
So has he done the Tasmanian thing yet?
no, I think it's still coming up. Well, it could be
Yeah,
this weekend or the following weekend, but the end of May, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, all right. That's all my notes. If I
Oh,
don't talk about them
now
next,
you're hurrying.
if I don't talk about them this week, I'll never talk about them. So I thought I'd just squeeze
Yeah.
those people in.
More power to Sean Tan.
Yeah, absolutely. Rock on.
What do we say?
Oh, more comics more often. There they are there. Yeah.
There they are there. There they are there. Okay. Pausing recording in 5, 4, 3, 2,